Inspirational like no other. Thank you, Omar, for sharing your articulate perspective on pressure. Following up, a student who believes that bitter moments in life do not deserve to be erased. Rather, they display your individuality and bring people together. We are ready for you, Bouchra Bassam.
Think back to the last time you tripped in a hallway. Maybe said something cringe in the group chat or completely blanked out during the presentation. You probably felt that hot, prickly burn of embarrassment. In that moment, we all wish for the same thing, a magic eraser. We want to go back in time, tuck that mistake away, and erase the bitter feeling until the paper is white and clear again. No memory, no regret, and no bad feeling. It's a tempting superpower, huh? If we could go back and erase our negative or unpleasant experiences, we'd only be left with the best parts of our memories. It's like we would be a walking, talking Instagram feed. Perfect, polished, and purposeful. But here's the thing about erasers. They don't just clear the page, they thin the paper out. When we were young, we were always told to stay positive and keep up a sense of happiness. Thus, we treat bad moments kind of like they're system errors. However, did anyone ever realize that those moments are actually what shaped our lives? Again, imagine this. You're learning to ride a bike. You fall, it hurts, your knees scrape. But the thing that hurts more than that pain in your leg is that sting of failure. If you could go back and erase the feeling of that fall, you'd get to feel the immediate relief of removing the pain. And you'd get to feel the pride and comfort of being the flawless version of yourself. It satisfies that inner need of you to be perfect and to pretend that nothing ever truly got to you. It's an easy escape from the things that hurt, allowing us to simply turn a blind eye to the moments we haven't learned to accept yet. But by doing that, you're erasing the very instinct in your head that keeps you from falling off that bike again. Without that sting of failure, there is no correction. Without that correction, there is no growth. The growth that makes you who you are. If we erase the bad, we aren't just removing the pain. We're removing the very lessons that transform us from a blank page into the version of ourselves that defines us. And that same principle applies to the moments we encounter in real life. You know what true friendship is because you felt that ache of being left out. You know what confidence feels like because you felt and tasted and survived the moments where you felt small in. And you know what success is because you've tasted the bitterness of a failure. If you raise the valley, you flatten the mountain. But you don't end up with a perfect life. No, you end up with a flat, gray life. If we erase every low point, we're erasing the very things that give our highest moments their meaning. Let's say, for example, a Japanese art form called kintsugi. When a piece of pottery breaks, they don't just throw it away. And they don't try gluing it with invisible glue either, no. Instead, they fill the cracks with gold. The philosophy behind that is that the piece is more valuable and beautiful because it was broken. The cracks tell its story. This brings to mind. I used to think the bitter moments I'd want to erase were the small things. Maybe failed tests or social blunders. But then came the day I found myself in a hospital waiting room. Time felt frozen. That morning, I watched two gurneys roll away from me at the exact same time. On one was my father, whose kidneys were failing, and on the other was my mom, who was about to give him one of hers. In that moment, my bitter feeling wasn't a sharp pain. It was a heavy, suffocating silence. It's a terrifying thing for a child to realize that their entire support system just broke down in an instant. Usually, if one parent is sick, the other is there to hold your hand. But in my case, the double doors of the surgical wing had closed, and for the first time in my life, my safety net was gone. Both people who shielded me from the world were now on those gurneys, leaving me to completely stand on my own. I remember sitting in a cold plastic chair, feeling completely vulnerable. I thought, if I had that eraser right now, I'd scrub this entire day away. I'd erase the fear, the smell of antiseptic, and this crushing weight in my chest. I just wanted to skip to the part where they were both awake, where they were both smiling. Yet, if I had erased that afternoon, I would have missed the way my own heart grew larger to hold the weight of the fear. I would have erased the very moment I truly understood what love looks like. But most importantly, I would have missed the realization that my mother's courage wasn't just in the surgery, but in her choice to have faith in my siblings and me. She gave us the responsibility to take care of ourselves, and in doing so, she taught me a lasting truth that everyone should know. That a daughter or son's value isn't just in being shielded, but in being trusted. If I had blinked or skipped the bad parts, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Someone who knows that even when the world feels oxygen thin, you can still find the strength to breathe through the worst moments and feelings of your life. That day, it didn't just leave a scar on my parents' stomachs. It left a gold-filled crack in my soul. It taught me that the moments we most want to escape from are often the ones that prove exactly what we are made of. We think our value lies in being unbroken, but the truth is, our strength is only revealed when we are tested. Like the gold that binds shattered clay, our character is formed in the recovery and not the perfection. Those are the moments that demand we stop running and finally start growing. When you navigate a bitter feeling, when you sit with it, breathe through it, and eventually move past it, you're gold leafing your own life. You're developing resilience, the strength that will carry you through the real world. And remember, resilience isn't the ability to avoid the storm. It's trusting that you're strong enough to sail through it. I know that every single person in this room sat in a waiting room of their own before. Maybe your bitter feeling isn't a hospital hallway. Maybe it's the heavy silence after a fight with your best friend. Maybe it's a paralyzing what if that keeps you from applying to that internship or stepping onto that stage. Maybe it's the quiet, persistent voice in your head that tells you you aren't enough because you failed once before. We live in a world that tells us to delete the drama, block the negativity, and filter the sadness. We've been conditioned to think that if we aren't happy, we're somehow failing. We're experts at hiding the cracks. So, when that sense of defeat or disappointment hits, our first instinct is to reach for that eraser. We want to rub away the day something bad happened. But the truth is, those moments are the only reason we can actually see each other. It's what gives us empathy. It's what makes us human. We lose our ability to connect when we try erasing our pain. If you never feel the bad part, how can you ever truly comfort someone else who's experiencing it? You can't lead, love, or grow if you're constantly trying to be a blank, unblemished page. Talking about my parents today doesn't just reflect my life. It captures the unspoken bravery we've all had to show at one point or another. We spend so much of our childhood looking at our parents as these static, invincible figures. They're the ones who drive the car, fix the Wi-Fi, and somehow always find the things we need. We don't want to see them as fragile. To admit they're vulnerable is to admit that our safety net has holes in it. We cling to their image of perfection because we're afraid of what happens when they can't catch us anymore. If we could use that magic eraser on our parents, we'd rub away their health scars, their financial stresses, and their heavy moments. We'd want them to stay the superheroes we thought they were. But if I had erased my parents' vulnerability in that hospital, I would have never had the chance to see them as human. I would have never learned how to be strong for them. By letting the bitter moments exist between you and your parents, you learn that you aren't a spectator in their lives and you start being a partner. You realize that their struggles aren't a glitch in your childhood, but the lessons of the resilience they're passing down to you. And to the parents in the room, I know your instinct is to be that eraser for your children. You want to rub away every heartbreak, every bad grade on a report card, and every night they spent crying in the room. You want to give them a flawless life. But by erasing their negative emotions, you're erasing their strength, the very resistance they need to build the power to survive without you. My parents couldn't erase my fear in that waiting room. They had to let me feel it. And because they let me sit in that moment, I walked out of that hospital no longer just a daughter, but a person who knew she could survive the impossible. And for that, let's give them a round of applause, the two most incredible people in my life. Whether you're the parent trying to protect or the child trying to understand, the bitter moments are the strongest gold you have. It's the late night talk after a failure, it's the silence when things aren't okay, and it's the I'm scared too that bridges the gap between people. Let's stop trying to give each other a perfect life. Let's start giving each other an honest one. So, if you could go back and erase that memory or feeling, I'd argue that you shouldn't. It's what makes you kinder to the person sitting next to you. It's the fuel that makes you work harder. The next time you're holding that magic eraser in your mind, trying to scrub away a memory or a feeling, stop, put it down, don't erase your history, own it. The smudge, the ink stain, and the tear are what make your masterpiece original.